Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather here tonight, we ask that you watch over those that are here and watch over those that are traveling. I know you've given us a grace with your weather lately, Lord, and I appreciate that. It's less to shovel, and it's just one of those parts of the season, I guess, that it's in between. I just ask, Lord, that you watch over us tonight, that you guide us for the betterment of the city. I ask that you give us an abundance of pleasure, Lord, in what we do. In your name, amen. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Come on, one of you.
I guess I didn't want to.
No, they're good. They're red. They're not. Thank you, everyone, for being patient tonight, too. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Cooper?
Here.
Councilmember Shy?
Present.
Councilmember Lallo?
Here.
Mayor Gunderson?
Here.
Councilmember Jones?
Here.
5-0, all in favor. Next, I'd ask for approval of the agenda as presented. Motion and support, bring this to the floor.
So moved. Support.
Discussion?
Yeah, I got some issues with it. This closed session, what does it pertain to?
It's pertaining to items that are exempt pursuant to state and federal statutes, specifically the Michigan statute with the Freedom of Information Act, which is attorney-client memorandum, which is exempt from.
Is that,
Is that done?
oh, I'm sorry.
Which is exempt from release to the public, and therefore, I mean, Randy, do you want to expand on that, please?
Mr. Cooper, yes, I'm Randy Cracker with Barnes. Under the Freedom of Information Act, there are a series of exemptions. One of them has to do with an exemption to discuss material that's exempt from disclosure under other law. And communication from your counsel to the council, for instance, is one of those items that's exempt from disclosure. So you may, in fact, should discuss that in closed session. That's what's the focus of this.
Is it relative to the bills I requested?
Yeah.
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 Well,
And go ahead, I'm sorry.
okay, I'm sorry. Can I ask who requested? You were here, Grant?
Yes, the mayor and the manager asked that I be here to address these issues.
For the city charter, it's got to be upon the request of the council. There should have been a 3-2 vote for him to be here. So he shouldn't be here to get paid for being here by our city. I got it right here. Our charter. This is exactly why I wanted the bills, because I didn't know what kind of money we were squandering. We had nearly $80,000 in bills from what I understand. I'd kind of like to see what we're paying for.
And I think if you would defer until we have this discussion later, then we can at least discuss some of the legal issues that apply. And then you can,
We can't have the discussion because we didn't approve it over here.
well, I guess the council could approve that I'm here right now if you choose to go that route.
Well, I don't,
Historically, it's been the prerogative of the mayor and the manager to, if they thought it appropriate, to have council here.
well, you guys are thinking about following the charter. That's what's in the charter. Now, I don't think we needed to pay for an attorney to discuss the bills that our city's accrued. Why can't we discuss them behind closed doors with our council? Why do we need him here to discuss?
Because there are permissible reasons in which to go into closed session. That one is, and it has to be relative to privileged information, and client attorney memorandum qualifies as that. There are specific caveats relative to the Open Meetings Act and what you can and cannot go into closed session for. So to have that dialogue in open session.
I'm not asking it, but I don't know why we need when I get personal bills, I don't hire somebody to go through them with me. Can't we go through them on our own without paying an attorney?
I think we're not really necessarily here to talk about the specifics of your request as opposed to some legal issues that apply to your request. And I think that's perhaps what you first ought to listen and have a discussion about before you go to the next step.
I guess my concern is everything we've heard, plus that we have to vote on, authorize these payments without being able to see this information. So I guess, you know, I think this is unnecessary to do. We didn't need to do this, we could have, I guess I don't think that should be on our agenda. So, there we go, we shouldn't be wasting our time with this, I guess, you know? I'd like to strike the agenda.
I guess I would ask you, Mr. Cooper, if there was an issue with this during the week when you got your packet, did you happen to contact the city manager or myself?
No, but I didn't know what it was about. I had no idea.
Did you
It
get,
didn't say on the agenda. It just said,
did you get,
it didn't say what it was relative to. I didn't know if it was with the pending litigation, personnel problems. That's why I asked.
you just asked that?
Yeah.
We could have cleared this up and we could have had this taken care of
Well,
before.
in the manager comments, excuse me, Your Honor, it does state, what I give you all separately, is that it's regarding client, attorney-client correspondence of which you will be presenting in closed session and have a dialogue with legal counsel.
Okay,
It will
well,
present you the correspondence of which you will review and have the discussion.
either way, we didn't vote for him to be here, so we're spending tax dollars against what our charter is. It just doesn't need to happen. We don't need to spend that money to do this. So that's what I'm asking. We can end the discussion. I have nothing more to say about it. I'd just like to strike from the agenda.
Is that a motion? Or
Yeah, I would like a motion that that's strike from the agenda.
Well, any other discussion or separation then?
I'll need a support for that motion.
Well,
I'm gonna need a motion, support, need support. You got a second? Support. Okay. Any other discussion on this?
Are we, I guess the motion is to strike the closed session or to strike Randy Cracker not being here
the
or
close.
Item 8.
just eliminating item 8 altogether?
Yeah. That's correct?
Yes.
Okay. No more further discussion?
8 or 13?
Or, sorry. 13. You're right. Sorry.
And the reason was because the charter,
The charter states right here that the city attorney shall attend meetings only when requested by the council.
And in the past, it's always been the mayor who has requested, correct, Green?
Yes. Or the
Or
manager.
the city manager,
Well,
and that's what we've done in the past. So if there is an error on this, then I was following procedure as far as what has happened in the past. So. We have a motion of support on the floor to strike item 13 from the agenda. So with no further discussion, I will call for a vote on that individual motion.
Mr. Cooper?
yes.
Mr. Scheid?
Yes.
Mr. Lallo?
No.
Mr. Gunderson?
No.
Mr. Jones?
yes, because that's the way the charter is written,
Okay.
or it goes against past practice.
An acknowledgement that that is a 3-2 to remove item 13.
At the appropriate time, may I address the council with regard to that?
Yes,
the past precedent was you had to do it during public comments.
That's fine, thank you.
With that being said, I would ask for an approval to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Would that, excuse me, would that be amended?
Yes.
Yeah, because the motion is made, yes, okay. Mike? Support?
Support.
Any other discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote.
Mr. Scheid?
Yes.
Mr. Lalo?
Yes.
Mr. Gunderson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Amended agenda, passed 5-0. Moving to public comment, anybody wishing to comment on any agenda item, you have 3 minutes. Please step to the podium, and if you would, state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure that, by the way, that the city attorney is bound to only speak during public comment. We'll let that go. I simply point out to you that the section that Mr. Cooper cited specifically provides for the council then to request the city attorney to attend. So if you wish to do that as a council, you certainly can do that. I will remain here to see if you wish to do that. If you do, we can proceed to re-amend the agenda and have the discussion, which I think you should have in closed session prior to making any other discussions, having any other discussions. Thank you.
Mr. Cracker, when you said having any other discussions, are you speaking on any other further agenda items?
No, I'm simply talking about the
About
closed
in the
session.
future?
And I'm talking that in the future, you may wish to take some action based on the discussion that we would have in closed session.
All right, thank you very much. Any other public comment?
Good evening, everyone. Catherine Henry, 806 Wild Lake Trail, Belding, Michigan. As far as items on the agenda go, the first item I was going to address was actually just removed. And I guess my concern, because this is not the first time it's happened before, and I believe that Councilman Jones appropriately addressed the concern before, and it was not, which is that if there is going to be a closed session, to clearly articulate what it is. So not only that you as all council members, but the public has a right to know the topic. So obviously you're not going to go into detail about, for example, if it's regarding the pending lawsuit, you're not going to go into detail to talk about what you're talking about, but you need to identify it's a discussion regarding the lawsuit, or it's a discussion regarding a Councilman Cooper said, personnel issue with city manager, or whatever, annual review with city manager, whatever the case may be. So I would ask that you guys, please keep that in mind and keep those closed sessions, if you're going to place them on the agendas, which I applaud you for putting that as advance notice on there, but to identify what topic you're going to be talking about. As far as the only other items that are really on the agenda, I wasn't able to print out the whole agenda with me, or excuse me, the whole packet, but my understanding is that in the approval of checks that are going to be approved this evening, or presumably approved this evening, there are, I want to say roughly $14,000 of checks to Williamson Works. I believe I'm getting that right. At any rate, the organization, the planning organization that we utilize through DDA, and I think the planning commission is using them on a committee. They might be used in other various aspects of the city right now. I would just ask that each of you as council members, that you really look into the checks that you're approving and figure out if you have more information than we do. That's, to a certain degree, that's great, and that, to a certain degree, that's not so good, but the information that's provided in the packets doesn't say what the work is for. It usually says professional services. So I would just ask you to look at that, because it's not necessarily that something is fraudulently occurring, but there can be mistakes, and that's why you guys are supposed to be reviewing things. So with that, those are the only two requests that I would ask you guys to thoughtfully consider going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Any other citizen comments?
Since I didn't use my 3 minutes, I'll just make one quick comment with regard to Ms. Henry's comments. The reasons for holding a closed session are specifically enumerated in the statute, and you have complied with that. Sometimes providing too much information, in fact, defeats the purpose of closed session. However, she is correct that nothing prevents you from doing more so long as you don't defeat the purpose of the closed session. But what you had on the agenda is adequate under the statute.
Any other public comment? Being none, we'll close public comment on agenda items. Next, we move into consent agenda. We have 4 items on the consent agenda. Any motion support for this to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion or separation?
Yes, I got a quick question. Is there any,
Because if you'd like anything separated, we'll put it under new business.
no, I just like a quick question. Relative to ZBA, do we have any new applications?
That's not on the consent agenda.
Okay.
Any other comments? Being none, I'll call for the vote.
Mr. Scheid?
Yes.
Mr. Lallo?
Yes.
Mr. Gunderson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Consent agenda passed 5-0. Next we'll move into council liaison reports.
Yeah. So I guess, is this,
Mike?
No housing commission meeting until 2 weeks from Thursday.
No, we had a museum meeting. We just wanted to remind everybody of the Home for the Holidays coming up this weekend. And they had 1 or 2 for the quote. Had a very good attendance for that, and it went very well attended last year, so very happy with the attendance. So I think it was a little bit more money than last year as well.
Tom?
Technically, I'm still not a member, I guess now I'm after the consent agenda. On the planning commission, they did have a meeting last Thursday. Not being a member, I defer any comments about it. The next planning commission meeting is here in the depot at 6:30 on the 18th, December 18th. If anybody would like to be here. We do have 2 vacancies on that also. Tried to talk Joe into doing it. Getting back into it, but he says he wants to go fishing, so.
I don't want to ride the fence either.
So anyway, next meeting anyway is December 18th. And the rec board, not to step on Dennis's toes, but the rec board meeting that was scheduled for December 8th has been rescheduled for January 12th. And that's it.
Thank you.
as Mr. Jones stated, I didn't realize it was rescheduled for the 12th. The email that I got was it was just canceled on the 8th because of an issue with BYBL and they couldn't be there to make a presentation.
Tentatively scheduled for the 12th.
Oh, is it?
That would be the second Monday, is usually what they do.
Okay, I thought the 8th was the second Monday.
the 8th of December was, but it's rescheduled for January,
Oh, okay,
January
okay.
12th, I'm sorry if I was unclear, which
Yeah, I
would be
was
the second
confused.
Monday in January.
I was assuming December 12th, they just moved it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure whether the BLB is presenting there.
It may or may not, it depends if they can get everything lined up again,
Okay.
but the tentative date, usually the second Monday is when they try to meet
Okay,
at City Hall.
I look forward to it.
Library, had a meeting last Monday, they've been going over the personnel policy, they've actually in the rough draft status right now, or state right now to where the trustees are all reading that and going through that for a final draft. They did have the candlelight reception last night, which the last I knew was approximately $1,200 was raised for the Friends of the Belding Library, which helps out immensely with the budget for the library itself. They did receive the $10,000 from the Ash Foundation that had been given to them, I believe, through Blanche Ash's trust. And also the DDA meeting is this Thursday here at the depot at noon. So with that, there's no unfinished business, no new business, public comment. Anybody wishing to make any comments, please step to the podium. Oh, one more thing, excuse me. I need to address the, I'll do it later.
Just a minute, under new business, would this be the place if I wanted to make a motion to go into closed session at the end of this meeting? Or would that be later?
Usually you do that under council comments, since I've heard a council member.
Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Good evening. Happy holidays, everyone. My name is Lynn Mason. I live at 11637 West Ellis. And as you know, I'm your Ionia County Commissioner for 2 more meetings. And I wanted to come and obviously give you a chance to ask me any questions, should you have any. But I also wanted to talk just a little bit about how fortunate I was to be elected as a commissioner and how much I enjoyed the job. I've been a commissioner for 8 years now, and I'd like to, if it's all right, tell you just a few of the accomplishments I think that we made when I was a commissioner. When I first ran in 2007, I ran on the need for an animal shelter. And if you knew what our animal shelter was back then, it was in pretty sorry shape. And I'm happy to say that we built one of the best animal shelters around. So I'm happy to say we accomplished that. I'm pretty proud that of the 8 years being a commissioner, we balanced the budget in all 8 years. I'm very proud of being involved in the Ionia County Substance Abuse Initiative, and I've been the representative for Ionia County in regards to substance abuse coalitions and committees. And we've gone through quite a few transitions during the 8 years, and I'm happy to say that I'm part of the team that kept Ionia County's interest in the game, because we went from a situation of having a vote to a situation of not having a vote, but we're able to keep an advisory council, and everyone involved knows of Ionia County and the needs of Ionia County, as well as the coalitions that we've built in regards to substance use disorder. And of course, I'm very proud of the rail trail project, and I want to say thank you to the city of Belding for its positive interactions, and the mayor for his work on the rail trails, which, as you know, goes right through here. Not quite completed yet. We have a few little hurdles to go through, but and we have yet to see what I think is going to be the economic benefit to that trail, to the local businesses, and I'm very proud to be part of that, and hopefully I'll continue in some way. So with that, I want to say thank you for giving me time when I would come all these years to talk about being a commissioner, and see if you have any questions of me.
Do you have any idea then what's going on as far as what the plans are for next year? Did you guys put anything together for
For-
2015, goals or anything?
No, but they'll do that at the organization meeting in January.
Okay. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Lynn.
Anyone have any questions, anything?
Somebody asked for something.
Audience members?
You have something in mind you want us to ask?
No, no, but I think sometimes it's important to challenge your elected officials and see if they know what's going on or anything.
Ron just did.
I do want to say that until you put yourself in the shoes of being an elected official, you don't appreciate the difficulty that comes with that sometimes, because you get placed in, whether you want to or not, you get placed in between two sides sometimes. And I always thought that if you try to stick with your convictions and try to not forget what you were elected for. In Ione County, what we do, in the front of our agenda book there, we came up with a vision statement, we came up with goals, and we have some things here that said, all right, commissioners, ask yourself these questions when you're going to vote on something. Like, one of the questions had to do with how much is it going to cost? Can we afford it? Another question is, how many citizens is that action going to affect? And so if you looked on the front cover of our agenda books, you could see those questions. And perhaps maybe it might be good for the city council to have something like that. And so when you go to make a decision, if you try to look back on there and say, how is my decision fitting in with what we agreed to? And we sat down and did a session to come up with those comments. So that was a very productive thing that we did. So having said that, like I said, 2 more meetings, and now Mr. Hodges will take over, but I'm not going anywhere. I've lived here, not in the city, but a long time, and I'm very proud to be here, and hopefully I can be involved in some of the city events.
Thank you, Lynn.
Well, I do have a question. Your substance abuse program, recently I attended a substance abuse training seminar with Sharon Carlson about identifying street drugs. How beneficial is that for city officials to attend those, and what kind of information can we give back to the community if it's beneficial for us to go to those things like that?
Well, first of all, it gives you some idea of the consequences of those drugs and the effect it has on the city of Belding. Plus, it gives you some strategies, I guess, if you were to come upon some situations in the city of Belding and you knew where to go to ask for help, either for yourself or other people, the steps that it takes.
Right.
And it builds relationships, I think, because being involved with the substance abuse disorders puts you in areas of your community that you wouldn't on purpose always go. So it gives you a good perspective and helps you understand the people a little bit more.
Yeah, that was a nice program.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you for your service, Lynn.
Any other public comment?
First, I just want to say how beautiful the Bridge Street Bridge looks. Jerry, I believe you were the one that basically put together the effort of some citizens to help you and your girlfriend, I think, to do that. And I was out of town, so it wasn't until today really, or yesterday, that I was able to go on Bridge Street Bridge, and I was like, wow, that's right, Jerry was doing that, and it looks really nice. Also, especially since there was some discussion at the last council meeting regarding citizens voicing their concerns to other citizens, and some citizens not getting their concerns heard or responded to by council when they did email. I just want to acknowledge and to thank you. Two different concerned citizens emailed council about different, totally separate issues. And for some reason, I don't think Dennis was included in this. Maybe there are issues that happened before Dennis, but all I know is Jerry responded to both. Ron responded at least to one, Tom responded to at least one, maybe both, and I thank you for that. I don't know the extent of where those issues sit, but the fact that you are responding, taking the time to read those concerns, I just want to applaud you for that, to acknowledge you guys for that, to encourage you to keep doing that. Also, I did email Mr. Callahan 2 proposals today. I asked him to review those with you. I would love for us to be able to work together to achieve a resolution. I welcome all respectful, reasonable discussions. But I would ask for one thing, and that is to end the blatant harassment that's occurring. I'm not sure if it's by Mr. Callahan directly himself or being directed by someone else. Regardless, some of these things include discovery demands such as all of my business tax returns for the last 7 years, all of my personal tax returns for the last 7 years, every single business receipt my law firm has had for 2014, all of my prior and present medical records, and full IRS disclosures. Not sure if any of you are aware of that. I'm going to assume, because I like to assume the best out of people, that none of you are the reason why that's happening, but I would ask you to make it stop. None of that has anything to do with the issues that are currently in front of the judge. There are some other documents or items, information that was asked for that is relevant, but these things, personal tax returns, my entire life history of medical records, full IRS disclosures for every year I've ever filed, those things are totally irrelevant, and it's harassment. I could be turning around and doing the same thing, but I'm not. In fact, if you guys are interested at all, I did print off and bring copies of my most recent discovery request to Callahan. I'd be more than happy to give you a copy or just have you look at it, whatever you prefer, because I have nothing to hide, and I want you to know that throughout this whole procedure, my purpose is not to waste the city's time. It's not to waste taxpayer dollars. It's not to harass any of you sitting up there. It's not to just give Mr. Callahan a hard time. So to what extent you might find that useful, I do have that information available with me as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Any other citizen comments?
Sam Mason, 516 West Main Street, owner of Belding Party Store. At the last meeting, we had some discussion on comparison as far as products that were being bought by the city, which was going to get back with me. Obviously, we bought them, which it doesn't matter. But the contact part is what really bothers me. I didn't get an email. I'm usually at the store 9 to 10 o'clock at night. And if anybody comes into the store, they could call me. And also, on the sign agenda, to try to see if we could put a sign up for local businesses in town, nothing. I was just surprised. I know it's been a couple weeks. I know people have been busy with the holidays. But just a email or a stop by the store and say, hey, by the way, I'm still working on that. We'll see what we can come up with. But just an acknowledgement, I guess, from a business owner standpoint, it really it saddens me. It really saddens me. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Any other citizen comments? Being none, I'll close citizen comments. Move into the city manager
just have one. There's been some discussion relative to decorating the downtown business district for the holidays. And at the last chamber meeting, I presented to them, in essence, a proposal where the city partner with the chamber and hoping to be able to pull the DDA in on that as well, where we can collaboratively do this together. I will make a recommendation when budget comes up relative to an allocation for that. Chamber was actually pretty excited about that idea. They embraced it and thought that it was a good thing. And there was a lot of interest in what they could do relative to assisting in putting those things up. There was some discussion relative to volunteers putting these up. I had a conversation with one of the chamber board members specifically about that, and so it's a good conversation. We're starting early, so we have plenty of time for planning and scheduling of that and working with them to determine the best course of action. Obviously, it would be something where we would start out small and each year expand upon that and hopefully see it grow and evolve into something much bigger. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Rick. Council comments?
Yes, Jerry.
Yep.
I'll just take it right over.
Your turn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good.
Yeah, I guess that I also want to make sure that we are getting hold of businesses. I believe last meeting it was said that we would get back with Sam, and I don't know why we haven't, but can we just try to get back with owners, please? I'm not sure if we did or it was like.
No, I did not get back to
Okay,
them, but
alright.
I've been compiling the information that I need as well as other things that have
And
been
it's not to
happening
be,
within the city.
I just want to make sure that we keep that line of communication with businesses. That's very important. I think we do that. So I'm just asking that we try to do that first. And I do want to thank everybody for helping out decorate the first and stop by. You know, a lot of good people here, and the city had a garland which is being used on the museum basement, so that was utilized. Unfortunately, we couldn't light it, but yeah, the place does look amazing. And for everybody that wanted to help and couldn't be there, I appreciate their offer. Like I said, I think next year we can get some things going with the chamber and really get this town going around the holidays for next year. So and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
One of the city manager's report we got dated 26 was talking about MML is working as part of the group to change the statute where they post the notifications, public notifications via the internet rather than a newspaper. I would just want to voice my opposition to that. I guess maybe my age, I'm not a techie. I still read the paper more than I do Facebook. Maybe if you do it as a dual posting, I don't have a problem with that, but I think there's still a majority, or not, a large percentage of people out there that read the newspaper and don't go on the internet and don't go on some of the websites to see those things. Maybe if you're deeply involved in that business, that's where you go to find them, but I think most of the people, or a lot of the people in Belding, Greenville, in this area, go to the newspapers for that kind of information. And I'm just not in favor of eliminating the newspaper. I realize it would save us some money because of it, but I think this is one case it's better to spend the money than to go with the internet part of it. The other part, seeing we do have Randy Cracker here from the law firm, I would make a motion we do go into a closed session at the end of the meeting to talk about attorney-client correspondence. And I don't know if you want to say he's a referee or our legal source, or make sure we know have him here so we know what we're talking about and how, what's going on.
If I may, what attorney-client correspondence?
As what was presented in the closed session, item
So the item that was removed,
13,
you want back on?
back on.
Okay. And that's a motion.
As a form of a motion. Support.
Who supported it?
Mike, yeah, I'll second that.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I guess is why I did that to begin with, is what I did is for the people out here, I requested our attorney bills as a member of the city council. I would just like to see them because we spend a lot of money with an attorney. And I understand that I'm privileged here and that I'm the client here. And I understand that some of that sensitive information is privileged and can't be made public. And that's all I requested. And I guess I don't feel that we need to spend our tax dollars, our citizens' tax dollars, to have an attorney here to tell us that. I don't know why I can't get that information as a city council member. I just don't understand why we have to spend our tax dollars for an attorney to be here to tell us that. So, those are my 2 cents.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Mr. Mello,
Yes.
Mr. Gunderson,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Cooper,
No.
Mr. Shy,
Yes.
We have a 2/3 majority vote on the original item 13, which will be back on the agenda at the end of council comments.
And that's all I've got.
Thank you. Dennis?
Oh.
Comment?
Yeah, Jerry, thank you. Those, the bridges do look good, I appreciate your effort and getting out in our community, gives our citizens an opportunity to get to know you a little bit as well, because I know, you're not originally from here, so I thank you. The other thing, we had some discussion, like you wrote a memo about being an exempt employee, and yeah, you're an exempt, and our department heads are exempt employees, but I think, from what I understand, the only really right that the exempt employees have is they get paid the same amount of money 1 week, whether they work 10 or 50, like you said in your memo, correct? Pretty much, unless there's other stipulations. I looked at the US Department of the website, it doesn't prohibit us from tracking hours or logging hours for evaluation purposes or count time and that sort of thing. So I think in our next meeting, I'd like to put it on an agenda to discuss something where we can track our exempt employees so that we know what we're paying for as a community for our employees. Because, quite frankly, 2 hours before the meeting, I got caught down here at the gas station, and the guy just was infuriated because he's been contacting City Hall and he can't get either you or Dale to call him back. So I don't know his name right bring it. And he was just infuriated and walked right off. So just quite frankly, I'm concerned because we have our exempt employees that aren't available to the public very often. So next council meeting, I'd like it on the agenda to discuss some form of law for our employees. So that's all.
Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Just a few more days, we'll have Christmas and then New Year's, and then we can start all over again with the next year. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Supposed to warm up a little bit towards the end of the week, so we'll know what a little bit of warmth you're gonna get. Jerry, very nice job. You kept badgering him long enough to get that out of there, so I'm gonna give you some kind of credit for that.
My pleasure.
Other than that, I really don't have anything.
Anyway, mentioned at the last council meeting, the Treasures for Troops, I almost forgot to re-announce it again, which will be this Thursday at Millie's, the 4th. And that will be from 2 to 6, and it's items for the troops, and it's sponsored by the Blue Star Mothers. I believe it's the Michigan 188, and they represent Ionia, Kent, and Macomb counties. So they will be at Millie's, WION, or I think it's still WION. They will be doing a live broadcast. So, and then there'll actually be one tomorrow at Carl's Market in Lake Podesta, and one on Friday at the Ionia Department. No, that just changed, wasn't it?
Lamplight
To the Lamplight. That's right,
on Main Street.
on Main Street. So, Jerry, thank you.
And home for the holidays.
Oh, what the? I don't have that date in front of me.
Saturday.
This
Saturday,
Saturday,
that's
6th,
right.
is the
At
home for the
12.
holidays at the high school. Breakfast
Yeah.
starts at
9.
9, I think, from 9 to noon. Visit with Santa, and they always have a bunch of crafts, so if you got any grandkids or kids you wanna take up there, or you just wanna go up and have a good time and see everybody, it's a good crowd. Band, I think the band usually plays.
Thank you. That was one of them I did not have written down. With that, I would ask, we were going into closed session, I would ask for a motion to support to go into closed session.
The motion should repeat.
Oh.
The motion should repeat.
Yes.